All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. How's everybody doing out there? It is 11:48 in the PM. The episode literally just got over with. And it's nice to actually be talking about this when the episode actually drops. Hopefully you guys are seeing this like in the morning or maybe even late tonight, because that's when we're going to plan on getting it out. But from here on out, now that we have internet again, we should be doing all of these episodes one at a time through the rest of this season. And this is season 4 of The Handmaid's Tale, episode 4. It's called Milk. I also want to thank everybody that has returned to the channel to watch these reviews. Maybe everybody will catch up. Maybe people just kind of forgot about my channel from these, but I really appreciate everybody that's watched so far, the first 3 episodes. This episode being directed by J.C. Heldrich and written by Christina Cho, if I'm pronouncing that right. Now, this is a really interesting episode, and I'm really glad that this is a Janine centric episode and a Rita centric episode. Two people, June's kind of, she's in this, right? She's in the forefront of this, but this is really a couple of stories about the side characters and what they're going through and what they've been through. And what they've been through kind of informing their decisions in this episode. And I really dig it. I especially really like Janine because, I mean, let's face it, you've been watching this show from the beginning. That poor girl, this poor woman, played by the beautiful Madeline Brewer. Holy goodness, she's beautiful. She's also, I'm sorry, I just didn't notice before. I mean, I've seen her on shows like Orange is the New Black where she had the cornrows and everything. But anyway, she's an amazing actress. The stuff that she's been able to portray in this series is great. I've looked up her stuff, and she's got a very varied career in the short time that she's been working. And then we have the other part of the episode being about Rita. So this takes place directly after the last episode, which just we all saw the 3 episodes in a row. Maybe you doled them out. Maybe you watched them all right away. I don't know. But they were 3 really intense episodes, and the last episode ending with the big train fiasco. Just really, really, I mean, that's one hell of a way to end 3 episode arc where we just came back after a year and 8 months. We lost a lot of handmaids. And so I was worried about where we were headed from this, because I was admittedly disappointed in the direction we were going, because I wanted to see June and the rest of the handmaids free, but now we're down to 2. Not saying that there aren't more handmaids out there, but the ones that we know about, we're down to 2. And so, like I said, there are 2 stories going on here, Rita's and Janine's. And June's story kind of is in the background of this. How she sees Janine is kind of like, she's not the main character of this episode, but some of the things that happen because of it affect June. So let's talk about Rita though first, because this actually gives Serena and Fred something to do in this episode, if briefly, but I really like this. And it also gets to have some closure for the character of Rita, who was, the Martha for them. And, they're so deluded. They're so fucked up. They're so just bonkers in the head, Serena and Fred both are. And it just keeps coming out how fucked up they are. That they just still, they're locked up here, they're waiting for their trials, and they're gonna stay the course. Stay the course so much that she's, once Serena found out she was pregnant, right, she sends a message to Moira. Moira gets a message, they send it to Moira to give to Rita to say, hey, come on down, I want to see you. So that she can tell her, oh, hey, all about the baby news. And Serena sitting there, and she's so fucking happy. Oh my God. And I just was like, sitting here watching this like, you are so crazy. She, the way that she comes in there, like, and this is the first of two times that we get the nice to see a friendly face line, that they literally just don't get that things aren't the same. She brings her in there too and says literally, I want you to help me bring this baby into the world, like nothing's changed. Like there's somehow, weirdly, we might not be in Gilead, but we're in Gilead. And you're going to be my Martha again. And she's going to be completely fine with it. That is how deluded these fucking people are. What I really thought was an interesting choice, though, was Rita playing along with it. Not really agreeing to anything, but not letting her down at all. And crying and being kind of happy for her, it seemed like, for a minute, about finding out that she's pregnant and that it didn't seem possible and that Fred somehow gave it to her. And it's just... they did a really good job of playing with the audience's notions that maybe Rita might go along with this, even though it's clear she's not happy, but like maybe getting this news would somehow change that. And she leaves, and Mark, played by Sam Yeager, who I like. I watched him on Parenthood. I really like this actor a lot. As the kind of go-between, he's setting up all this stuff, and he sends Rita, he's got the defense that Serena wants to put it all on Fred because everything went so well and she's going to be on my side. And part of me wonders, like, how much of this is her delusion and how much of that little meeting was maybe supposed to, maybe Serena thought she was working Rita. And that would go towards what Serena really thinks of Rita as property, as, in all intents and purposes, a slave, right? And getting this news, sends Rita to Fred, which I did not expect. I did not see this coming. I thought this was another interesting choice. Because, again, he's like, nice to see a friendly face. Except with Fred, she's more direct, which is a great difference there, She just comes right out. Because it's like facing the slave master and the slave master's wife. Two different ways of like looking at it in a way. And she just more like, we're not friends. And I'm not going to tell you nothing about myself and what's going on and where I'm at. Are you crazy? Because just in case this doesn't all work out, Fred would use that information to smite his enemies and find out where, Rita is and maybe try to take her back or worse, or kill her whole family. These people are fucking religious fanatics, power-hungry men let on the loose who just want to... I could go off on a rant here, but I'm going to pull myself back. But her like kind of revenge for Serena is that Serena had no intention of telling Fred about the pregnancy. And so, Rita gives him the sonogram that Serena gave her and says, deal with your own shit. In essence, right? Deal with your shit yourself. And while it's, Fred's kind of got this, like, oh my God, I'm about to be a dad kind of thing. Like, I really just don't... It'll be interesting how this news affects Fred. But I'm not going to think that this changes really anything. If anything, he's just going to be even more freaking weird about things, and their little, case is going to get crazier. So... it just ends. Her Rita's part of the story just kind of ends on her having a nice meal and busting out the chopsticks, and it's just kind of like a moment of calm that it's all over. And here I am getting to sit by myself. I'm no longer anyone's property. She's free of Gilead and the Waterfords and all of it, even though she still has to go to court. So now we get to the Janine part of the story, which, and June, as they've, escaped with their lives. And June still being like, dragging crazy old Janine along for the ride, making sure, like, snap out of it, don't cry and let's get going. And, getting to the train yard and finding the thing to, the big old, whoa, my notebook started to fall. And then I freaked out. The train car that they crawl into, which this was interesting. This, I've never seen this done before, I don't think, on this way. It was they go into what turns out to be a big old vat of milk. Like a and I really liked how they did this. I mean, they put them in there. I don't know if it was really milk or it was probably just water with like some white, I don't know what it would be. I don't know what that probably was. But I liked that they were really in something that was really moving, and you could just see the water just sloshing around, and that must have been horrible to work in. Absolutely horrible. But it was a really interesting way of escaping in a big old thing of cold, refreshing milk. But this, they find the valve and it goes down. And this is where we get the real crux of the more important part of this episode for Janine. And that's what I talked about in my first review, which was, if I'm these girls, I would never trust anything that June ever said again after telling them where they were. And now they're all dead, except for her and Janine. Maybe one of them's, maybe not dead and shot or something, but dragged away. But, like, this was, like when she says, I'm not a mushroom. And you think, again, she's just saying something weird like Janine does. But it's an actual statement here that you can't just, close me off, keep me in the dark, and feed me shit and not tell me anything. And that, were we spared because we were bad and they were good? I do think that she has a right to be leery of June. Not that June doesn't have her best interests at heart or doesn't want to help. But with what happened, you would have to, like, it's your life. You can't just, be a follower. If she has to figure things out on her own. And she tries to say, look, she says, did you tell on us? Did you tell them where we were? And she says yes, and that they had Hannah. And like I said last time, I'm not a parent. I don't know what I do. But Janine just comes right out and says, well, how do you know I would have done the same thing? You're telling me I would have done the exact same thing. But you don't know. You really don't. People like to say that. And even I said, well, maybe, if I did, I don't know what I'd do. But Janine's flat out says, well, you don't know. I don't think I would have done this. I would not have told them where you are. And who are we to say? And who is June to say that that's not accurate? I thought that I did not expect them to actually, use that line for her. And when June even says, like, she was scared, that Hannah was scared, Hannah was scared of her. And what she had just previously said to Commander, Lawrence, was that they'd never hurt a kid. So they show her the kid, and I guess maybe, she was going to infer that you brought the kid here to scare me, to make me think that you would do something to her. But she really believed that they wouldn't. But she tells Janine that that she was scared. But she leaves out the part that she was scared of her. She was fine sitting in there playing. Now, maybe she, I don't want to push that too hard because I'm not a parent. June made a choice as a parent. But now she has to live with the fact that all these girls are dead because of her, because of that choice. And there probably are a lot, not even probably, there are a lot of women that would have made the same choice as June. Maybe a lot more, maybe even the majority of women would do the same thing. So it's kind of one of those things where it's hard to judge. But again, Janine's life is at stake, and she has every right to say, to be pissed, to be leery. And that's when June gets all up in her face and says, I should have left you a long time ago. And I was like, dang, like, you know, really harsh. We again get the flashback. That's this part of it right here where she, we find out Janine was pregnant. She was kind of tricked. She was looking up, she looked up abortion clinics, went into a place, turns out to be like a crisis center where they tell her, it's all about religion. And what has that got to do with it? That's exactly what I was thinking. She's like, are you religious? What's that got to do with it? And they feed her the part about how it's dangerous and it could kill you and all these other things. And I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know this stuff. I have a sister who has been through this situation a couple of times, and it didn't, I didn't try to press on it. But I know that it emotionally bothered her, but I don't know how bad physically it took a toll on her, if anything. But she just leaves because they freak her out. But then we get the train derailed. They get out, and now we're with these people. Now they're like, "Oh, this could be Mayday," but really, what they are just really desperate people. And as soon as they were taken with these desperate people that killed the soldiers and were just looting the train, you could tell these weren't just weren't really soldiers. These are people just trying to survive. Sure, they're fighting because they have to, but they're not part of any, it didn't seem like any part of real thing. They're just kind of probably a group that's tied together that happened to get some shit together and got weapons and things like that, but they're barely holding on. And when desperate people will do desperate things. And I was immediately saying something's not right here. This is going to go south because the leverage, that June does not have. These people could do anything to them. They could turn them over for maybe making, and try to make a deal with some people from Gideon to get food or something. I don't know. Kind of almost basically is worse because the guy that they end up with says, nothing here is free. Which one of you is staying with me? And I was just like, you fucking piece of shit. And June's, tells Janine, you go change, have some food. I'll deal with this. I'll do whatever this guy wants me to do sexually to him. But he says that I'm not going to force you and you can just go. So basically, you can't have anything here unless you unless you have sex with me or whatever. And she gets up and leaves, and she's emotionally when she's about to do what she's going to do, you can just see she's about ready to fucking fall apart. She just left all this stuff, and now the first people that they find are going to try to take advantage of her in the same way that the Waterfords did. It's it's the same shit no matter where she goes. And so they're going to leave. And as soon as you saw Janine turn around, it was like, oh, she's going to do something on her own. Which leads us to her second flashback, where she goes to an actual abortion doctor and she gets the real line on what abortions do, and they're not prying, and they're just like, look, whatever you decided you did not want to be pregnant right now, the rest of it is none of my business. Which, if more people talk to people like that, the world would be a better place, instead of always trying to push your shit on people. But anyway, I digress. And she made her decision. At first I thought that she had the kid when you see little Caleb running around, but it turns out, and then I thought maybe it was a dream sequence, but no, she already has a kid. She can't take another one right now, and she does what she needs to do, which is exactly what she does in the present, which was she took one for the team with the messed up dude, so that they can stay. And that June then looks at her quite differently. because it didn't faze her. She did what she had to do. Now they have food and clothes. And while I'm sure it's not something that she doesn't realize happened to her and that she did something that's horrifying, it just shows June that she's a lot more capable and smart and a survivor and not to be underestimated. That all the things that she's been through, she's still there. And that's important for this character. It's a nice bit, a new arc. Not that she had to suck some guy off, but that she's a lot stronger than June thinks. So anyway, that's Milk. Really, really good character episode. Moves our characters a little bit further. Not too far. We've still got a long ways to go in this season. But if you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Otherwise, we'll be back with more of the fucked up world of The Handmaid's Tale next week. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, all that jazz. And we'll talk to you all later. Bye.